Hey guys, it's me again, Ryoga V, and today I would like to play a game with you called Is It Racist? Now, I'll preface this by saying I'm a multicultural African American. I've lived in various regions across the United States, but predominantly I've been surrounded by black people. I've lived in just about every single socioeconomic setting there is to be in. However, I have experienced what us minorities like to call the struggle. Over the years, I've seen many accusations and claims of racism in the media. However, I tend to pay close attention when the subject of video games comes into play. So just imagine my surprise when the cute, cuddly, adorable character from Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina,
all around the stackless plant, the stalker chased a bandit. The stalker thought 'twas all in fun. Goes the bandit.
got accused of conveying racism. Now, to be honest, I heard this claim before when the game was released back in September of 2012, but most of this came from kids on Reddit and Twitter who just wanted something to bark about. But this debate surfaced one more time with a tweet from a guy named Mike Sacco who sent a very intriguing message to the writer Anthony Birch. Long story short, Mike complains that Tiny Tina is a white girl who talks like urban folk. Translation, she talking like niggas. Anthony Birch defends this claim by saying that Tina is nothing more than a little girl using vernacular that is widely used by youth today in America. Unfortunately, this is where things get ugly. Fellow tweeters jump in and make their own accusations by saying that Tina is divisive, racist, and she amounts to verbal and digital blackface. And frankly, the last time I saw digital blackface in video games was Jinx from Pokemon. So, now that I've set up the story, let's have a discussion. Okay, so I'm going to come at this debate on two different levels. First, as a black man who has studied race relations at the academic level for the better part of the last decade. And two, as an industry professional that loves video games and the media that I get to enjoy. Now, this is not the first time that the claim of racism has been brought up in the name of game. We can go back to the infamous PSP black and white ads. We can talk about Resident Evil 5, which some people like to codename Kill All the Africans. Heck, the entire cast line of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out can be suspect. However, what we have in this case is just a little white girl using terminology that has widely been presumed to be urban. Why is this? It's possibly because the words badunkadunk, biatch, chizo for rizzo, and crunk are presumed to be words only spoken by people of color. Part of the problem is people fail to understand how it is that language that we once assumed to be exclusively for black people merged over into white America. The answer is it was never black to begin with. For those of you that keep tabs on me, you'll know that I did a video a couple months ago titled, It's Not Our Music. I pretty much talked about the rise of white rappers, particularly Krayshawn and V Nasty. Here we are, 20 years out from the first mainstream hip-hop album. So what we have now is 15 to 25-year-olds who are now growing up being heavily influenced by the music that's available to them today. Why? Because music has always shaped Western culture. Ponder this for a moment, if you will. Imagine a country raised on amazing music like the Beatles, The Who, The Doors, The Grateful Dead, Janis, Jimmy, Jefferson Airplane. Imagine what amazing music we had during the Summer of Love back in 1967. Then, think of these people and how they moved forward and how they shaped the country as a whole. Now, think of the music we have available to us today and how it's inspiring our youth. Tupac, Biggie, 50 Cent, Eminem, NWA. What would your expectation be for people being raised and listening to this type of music? The point I'm getting at is Tiny Tina's speech is not exclusive to race, nor poor, nor the disenfranchised. It is nothing more than language, which is ever evolving. Words are often assimilated, taken apart, thrown out, tossed, altered. It is nothing more than how we communicate. I guess the equivalent would be to have a black character use terms like dude, bogus, gnarly, and awesome, because there was once a time where these terms were exclusively used by the surfer community. But what happened? Something changed. These words branched out, and now everyone uses them. Why? Because language and vernacular does not discriminate, especially by color. Everyone gets a chance to use it. So pretty much what I'm saying is Tiny Tina is no more racist than the recent VW Jamaican commercial.
No worries, man. Everything will be alright.
She is simply a fictional representation of a real-life female that has been shaped and molded in her environment. I think a better question would be to ask if Tiny Tina's language is so offensive because she's white, or if we were using a darker palette, would we then just call her stereotypical and trite? In the end, what I'm really trying to say is this is a case of white guilt going far overboard, primarily because I have talked to a lot of people of color and not one of them has even slightly batted an eye at the subject. Tiny Tina's use of urban slang is nothing more than a modern form of English dialect. Notice how I don't use the term ebonics, because nothing in Tina's script fits that definition, nor does it fit into African American Vernacular English, or AAVE. The strongest argument that I can make is that Tina's vocabulary lacks any stereotypical or even actual references to black culture. Now, unless she starts talking about how hard life is in the hood, government cheese, food stamps, EBT cards, these are just empty references that amount to nothing. And frankly, I find it far more offensive that the connection has even been made. The idea that there are people going around thinking that this is the only way that people of color talk. But if you do, well, massa, I guess I'll be heading on over and putting these posters back up. Day's never finished. Massa got me working. Someday massa set me free.